Now let's talk about some of these specialized cells. Root hair cells, for example, हमने पढ़े थे root hair cells and epithelial cells both have this processes of the transport across the cell surface membrane. They also use osmosis, active transport, co-transport, and also the epithelial cells of the small intestine are examples of cells that are adapted for the rapid transport of molecules across their membranes. For example, root hair cells. They are adapted for the absorption of water and mineral ions from the soil. They have a specialized shape, the root hair, that increases the cell's surface area, so the rate of water uptake by osmosis is greater, can absorb more water and mineral ions than if the surface area was lower. अब इसका जो specialized root hair cell होता है, this increases the surface area, so it impregnates the soil, उसके अंदर चले जाते हैं and absorbs more and more mineral ions through the large surface area. Moreover, they have thinner walls than other plant cells so that water can move through easily because thinner means the distance is less, the thickness is less, and this means that diffusion would be faster due to shorter diffusion distance. Thin का मतलब है shorter diffusion distance. Thick means greater diffusion distance. Moreover, they have a permanent vacuole containing cell sap, which is more concentrated than the soil water. This ensures the high water potential gradient is also maintained. Epithelial cells की बात करें, so they have these microvilli. Again, these microvilli are the folded sections which increase the surface area, and hence the rate of diffusion is also increased, and the products of digestion are also greatly absorbed in short amount of time at a faster rate of diffusion. Now, each villus of the small intestine has a constant blood supply, which continually transports the product of digestion away from the epithelial cells. ये आपके पास एक epithelial cells का villus होता है. अब इसके अंदर there are all these are capillaries inside it. तो जैसे जैसे epithelial cells absorb, they are also taken away by the blood. तो इसका बार बार concentration gradient low होता रहता है और बाहर का high रहता है because the products are also taken away into the blood. So hence faster movement due to the difference in the concentration gradient keeps occurring. यहाँ पे दो factors आते हैं. Microvillus also has a large surface area due to the membrane folding. Also, due to the constant blood supply, the products which are absorbed are taken away from the villus into the human body, away by the blood. तो जो microvillus का gradient होता है that remains low, बाहर का gradient remains high, and hence the transport keeps going on faster. Rate of diffusion remains faster due to the difference in the concentration gradient between the lumen of the small intestine and the interior of the epithelial cells, which has a low concentration. Lumen has a high concentration. So here are the two types of specialized cells that we discussed. This is a diagrammatic form of the root hair cells in plants, and this is the intestinal epithelial cells that we discussed in animals. Neurons, muscle cells, and some kidney cells are also some examples of the cells that are adopted for the rapid transport of molecules across their membranes via facilitated diffusion. Certain kidney cells have cell membranes that contain a very high number of aquaporins channels. Aquaporins क्या होते हैं? Aqua से नाम पता लग रहा है. They allow the facilitated diffusion of water through the cell membranes. हमने aquaporins एक बार पढ़ा था excretion chapter में, where we discussed about the collecting duct. आपका जो नेफ्रॉन होता है, नेफ्रॉन has many parts. Proximal convoluted tube, distal convoluted tube, loop of Henle. एक part was also known as the collecting duct. So these aquaporins were also allowing the kidney cells to reabsorb water. वो जो collecting ducts थे, वहाँ पे these aquaporins channel were also present so that more and more water can be reabsorbed by the blood out of the nephron to reabsorb the water, stopping it from being unnecessarily excreted by the body. And these aquaporins also helped us in the homeostasis, उसको हम क्या कहते हैं, to maintain the osmoregulation. Neurons and muscle cells are involved in the transmission of electrical impulses around the body. They have cell membranes that contain channel proteins for sodium, potassium, and calcium ions. The opening and closing of these channels and the resulting facilitated diffusion of these different ions, as well as the number of these channel proteins, play an important role in the electrical transmission. I already told you that the number of these channel proteins already have a very important role and an adaptation for facilitated diffusion. If these number of channel proteins and carrier proteins are greater, greater would be the facilitated diffusion. So these are some of these specialized cells examples.